This is Cape Coral Talk Radio. And now, broadcasting live from Hooked Island Grill in the heart of downtown Cape Coral, here are the hosts of Cape Coral Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah, welcome to Hooked Island Grill. Thank you all for coming. That's when you give me a big round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. Here she is, fashionably late and back after 1 week off. My wife of 40 years, Kim Ryan. Big hand for my wife, everybody. Oh, that's nice. Go ahead, your mic's on.
Thank you. 40
right.
years.
Can I just...
I was a child bride then.
Can I just ask you out in the audience if everybody can hear okay? All right, great. Want to make sure that everything is sound is good on Facebook and YouTube, and sound is good here. And it's nice to have you back, dear. It was a little bit hectic last week with 3 people doing a debate or a forum, and you're not here to help me out, but we have a great show lined up for tonight.
Hello?
You're good.
I think I know that was hard for you.
Yeah.
I could barely operate the equipment, let alone that and interview people.
So can I just say that this has been one crazy busy week here in Cape Coral, especially last night was very busy. And the way it lined up last night was you got to hang out with the Muckety Mucks for a couple hours, and I was with the people at the Public Works building. And
what does that mean?
Yeah, you were over at the Westin hanging out with all the Muckety Mucks. And
it was a nice event over there.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
And it was nice to see a couple of hundred people come out to talk about the golf course and what they'd like to see for the golf course at the Public Works building last night. So that was a very interesting thing to see happening. And I think people want to see open space. They want to see green space and walking trails. And as soon as somebody in the audience said hotel, everybody that was in that room went boo to a hotel. So I guess
a hotel in a park. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess the next public meeting will be like mid-January next year, and then we'll see what happens with that.
Well, and congratulations to you because you got your baby truck back.
I did. I don't know if you folks have been following the
saga of this baby truck.
Yeah, 30 days in the shop for my baby truck.
And it came back covered in mud. They must have taken this sucker out, 4-wheel driving somewhere, maybe up in Babcock Ranch. They were tearing it up there because that thing was so dirty. I'm going to start a pool, like a football pool, for when the light comes back on, the check engine light, because I have little faith it's completely fixed, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think I'm not complaining about it, but it took me like 2 hours to scrub off the clay. I don't know where they took that thing, but at least it runs right now, and the check engine light isn't on. And
the loaner you had started leaking transmission fluid, brand new, in our driveway. So I don't know.
Yeah, so good luck with that, selling that thing. But hey, the reason this box is here is because we're gonna talk about this a little bit later.
Wow. You did such a great job wrapping that in paper. It looks so festive.
We are there's a little mayoral competition going on for the 10,000 cards for the troops. That was started by 92.5. I think it's like their 7th or 8th year they're doing it. They collect Christmas cards, holiday cards for the troops, and then they send them to the troops all over the world. And Dan Allers, the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, challenged all the other mayors. And I saw the press release that the city of Cape Coral sent out today. And the mayor has, Mayor Gunter has like 6 locations that people can drop them off. So it's going to be interesting who gets more cards.
What, 220,000 versus 3,500?
Yeah.
I don't know. We need to give them some points because that spread is really big.
Yeah. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But we have a wonderful show lined up for you today. And our first guest is a city council member for District 1. His name is Bill Steinke. Big hand for Bill. And if Kyle, the owner, manager, is here, can you ask him to come over, please? Bill, you're in number 3.
Just trying to give you some space.
Yeah. All right. Bill, how are you, man?
I'm fabulous.
I know you wanted
Glad
to.
I didn't wear my dress.
Wait a minute. I have to say that I learned something new about you literally 2 seconds ago.
Okay.
Do you
I
know
wear good
he
cologne?
did? You do smell really good.
Okay, all right.
But
Who wears cologne anymore, by the way?
but he did stand-up comedy, so you're in big trouble.
Well, even before that, though, I got to say the answer is Jerry Smith.
Jerry Smith.
Jerry Smith.
Okay. I don't know if you saw the picture that I posted on our Facebook page last night, but I don't know what shirt you were wearing last night. I've never seen you out of a suit before, but you came dressed like
I'm going to back up here.
Just so you know, it was to prove that I could follow directions because I paid the Northwest Neighborhood Association a courtesy, and I said, do you have a theme for tonight's event? And is there some type of attire that you're expecting that all of us wear? And he said, Florida tropical.
Yeah.
So wearing a shirt that said Florida and had palm trees in it, I thought was relatively appropriate.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it. You got Best Dressed Award. I don't know if you were there for it.
How am I doing tonight? Am I
very dapper?
Okay. All
very
right.
dapper.
Well, Barbara told me what to wear tonight, so we'll blame that on her. Jerry Smith last night, Barbara late tonight.
And when it comes to directions, he has no sense of east, west, north, south. So he cannot follow any directions, whether it's topographical, whether it's dress code, no matter what.
Wait, so one time I went out City Hall after a meeting, and I went out the back way, and I made a right. We live in Gateway.
that want the city to grow, and you're going to have those that do not want the city to grow. And that is an absolute tug of war that I don't think will ever stop. It started in 1970 when we became incorporated as a city. 46% of the electorate voted no, don't become a city. So with 54% saying yes and 46% saying no, it started that tug of war then.
Right.
And then our other major tug of war that we have here is do it nice or do it cheap. And certainly we have, you know, a variety of incomes, a variety of expenses. Everyone lives in a different situation, and so to try to serve both of those needs is impossible. And you know, compromise. You were talking about your marriage. You know, compromising on a vacation can be tough. You know, I want to go to New York. I want to go to
no, it's not.
LA.
You just take a separate vacation.
Yeah, well, there you go. You can do that too. But if one wants to go to New York and one wants to go to LA and you compromise and go to Lincoln, Nebraska, nobody has any fun then. So I think there's got to be some winning on one side and some decisions, and some have to, you know, win in the other direction. Sometimes.
So do you wear your name tag because you're worried somebody in the crowd's not going to know who you are?
No, well, it's not that I'm worried that they are. I learned that out of respect a long time ago, and you wear it on the right side so that when you offer your hand as a handshake, that if they don't know who you are, at least they know you by name at that point.
See, there
good.
you go.
I'm glad it's on the right side.
Yeah, you did it right. Good job, Ed.
So you've been on 2 different councils. Which one do you like better?
Ooh, like better. Well, they're definitely different. You know, I'm 3 years in, 2 years with the prior council, 1 year with this council. This council, I was the new guy. You know, when I started, and I had some realities to understand, and I think that the incoming council that we have now, the new members, they have kind of gone through those growing pains, and they're tough because when you're campaigning, you figure I got to get votes, so I'm going to tell people what they want to hear. Well, you're going to sometimes tell people what they want to hear, and then when you actually get in the boat, you can't row it quite that easily.
Did you tell people what they wanted to hear and then got into council?
I absolutely did not. You know, when I was campaigning, there were 3 questions I had to answer. I had to answer, will you pull out the lock? Will you fire the city manager? And are you Republican? And if I answered those 3 questions right, then I win. Right? Well, I wouldn't answer them that way for a couple reasons. One, that I'd never worked with the city manager before. I had no personal experience with that. How can I tell someone that I'm going to fire someone that I've never had the chance to work with? So I said, I can't answer that, but I will certainly evaluate it as quickly as I can. Will you pull out the lock? First of all, that ship was already sailing at the time. Pardon the pun, but we were already in for permits there. That it was already going down the road. And what I said was, I said that if someone could present me with some scientific evidence that would indicate that the septic tank leakage potential, that the nitrogen infusion from the fertilizers coming off the soils truly was endangering our wildlife and our mangrove and our ecosystem, that I would certainly stand up and look. But at that point, I said I can't make that promise. But what I will do is I will evaluate as best as I can. I'm a data guy. If I see data that says I should do that, and that data never materialized, and we are where we are today.
When you were talking earlier about, you know, people that there's so many people that don't want change and some people that do, what do you do to pull those people to encourage them to embrace some change and not make it so drastic for those who are feeling nostalgic about the way things are and want things to stay the way they are?
That's a tough question. Not only a good question, but a tough question. And I think you know, when you try to help people understand the magnitude of our city, it helps. There's 411 municipalities in the state of Florida. Does anyone have a guess what the average population is in a city in Florida? It's 7,000 people. That's the average population. Google it if you want to. What's the average population of a municipality in Florida? It's 7,000 people. We have 220,000 people, leading us to 350 to 400,000 people. We've got 120 square miles. Every time it seems, since I've been in office, that anything is going to be done to revitalize or something, there's this, we're giving up our green space. We need green space. We're giving up we have 39 parks to enjoy. 39 parks to enjoy. And so when one or two or three parks are going under, reconstruction, revitalization, that leaves us 35, 36 parks. But you know what? Not everybody knows where they all are. And so I think making sure that folks know all that is available to them helps. And certainly, keeping an ear to their desires that we can, as we revitalize things, the way that they would like to see it done, that we keep that in mind too.
So we had three candidates. I'm sorry, I've already forgotten what district they're running for last week. Are they running for your district? They were running, okay,
Last
District
week?
1. And they all said that a Mike should be paid around $150,000 to $200,000, which of course is like half of what he's making if it's $150. And he would probably say go pound sand. How much is his salary fair is to the taxpayers in Cape Coral? He's making $300,000 and something thousand, and it's public knowledge, but is that a fair salary for him?
Well, I'll answer it the same way I would answer it for any person. It's not just our city manager. It's every single position that we've got. And when people say that's absorbent, that's ridiculous, my favorite response to that is compared to what? Because perspective means a lot. And unless we have something to compare it to, how can one say that's too big, too small, too large, too much, too little? And so in every decision we made across the board with the unions and literally everything that we do, and as you know, and as everyone knows, I think it's pretty public knowledge that we look for 75th percentile. And quite frankly, 75th percentile is too low, in my opinion. And the whole reason is our city is not in the 75th percentile. Our city is up in the 90th or 95th percentile. So if you want people to come and bring their talent to our city with the magnitude of the job that they have to do, then you have to attract them with the right amount of money.
So you didn't answer my question.
So yes, I do believe it's fair. And the reason why I believe it's fair is that we got the data to show what someone in that role makes with that much responsibility.
And what grade do you give him?
What grade? I would say an A.
Okay. All right. Do you want to? I know you feel left out that you didn't get the memo last night, but do you want to ask a question or not?
I asked a question.
Oh,
Go
right.
ahead.
She was covering for you, and you were
we're
a
good now. We're
technology
good.
genius.
I know nobody cares about this,
Lord.
but this is a brand new laptop here, and the reason it's a brand new laptop is
Here we go.
we were doing our show
we
with the
go.
mayor on the beach on Sunday,
Here
and
we
I had a
go.
drink on the bar top.
Water,
and
I'm
yeah,
sure.
what? It was a beer, and the beer started sweating, and the glass just started to creep down and fell right on top of the old laptop, right on the keyboard. So, and this worked
is not a
perfectly
peace
fine
sign. This is the number of times we've had to get a new computer just
this year.
in the last little bit.
Yeah.
New computers, truck wrapped. We had to get a new toilet thanks to him, but we won't go into that. It is a beautiful toilet, though. I will say thank you, Bob.
We have a great
It is a
friend.
super fantastic toilet.
But when I saw the bill of $400 for a toilet and installation, I was like, holy shit is right. When you
actually, I think that's pretty
I was just saying,
reasonable.
if you gathered the data on that, that's not
of course.
Yeah.
So,
I think he did. I don't even think he
he's a good
charged you
friend.
for the
Yeah.
labor, which you could never do.
Of course. So
Did he get the bidet model?
No, there's nobody's doing
No,
that.
but
in our
he's
house.
got to use the plunger, and then he
we're very
breaks the
basic.
seal, and it's a whole big mess.
So back to you, Bill. Enough about me and my problems as I get old. The yacht club.
Yeah.
The yacht club is a big issue with the community and the council. The council seems to be struggling with the dollar amount to this point. Where you want a big Taj Mahal? You want the big Kahuna?
Well, of course, we can call it Taj Mahal if you want to. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather said, if you're going to do a job, do it right, and if you're going to do a job right, do it right the first time. In my opinion, it's a travesty what previous councils allowed the yacht club to turn into. The decrepit nature of those buildings, the way that they were maintained, or should I say the way they weren't maintained over the years. Certainly Ian gave it a knockout punch, and we brought 17 citizens that were selected from 1,000 to walk through that facility and make sure that they felt the same way that we did, and quite frankly, that the engineers did, that building could not be Band-Aided, that it needed to come down. So with the electrical room, the Rotino Center, all of it, it had outgrown its useful life, so it needs to come down. So now when you have a blank slate, then you have to decide, what are you going to do that's going to stand the test of time and growth that our city is going to deal with over the next 50 years. That was the prize gem for the city of Cape Coral for 50 years. There's no reason why there shouldn't be another prize gem to serve the next 50 years.
But when you say it's not really a blank slate, that makes it sound like you have all the money in the world to do what you want to do. You don't really have any money for that.
Yeah, no, it's not a matter of it being a blank slate. It's a blank canvas. Okay. So we can paint whatever picture we want there. And so certainly money is an issue. And whether and I got a little bit of ridicule because I was a bit flippant at the dais the other evening when I said the cost of the Taj Mahal would be $897 a person. I'll write my check right now. But I prefaced that with, hey, everyone's in their own situation. Mm-hmm. Everyone is in their own situation. And I also finished that comment with, I don't think paying cash for it is the way to go. Most people don't pay cash for their cars. Most people don't pay cash for their houses. And certainly a facility like that, in my opinion, we shouldn't pay cash for. The people that are going to come here over the next 30 years that are going to get to enjoy that, they need to participate in the investment required for the fantastic facility that will be there. And the only way to do that is to actually use financing so that they can pay for it when they get here.
It's a great property. It needs some, and I'm going to upset, red roof, but you don't want to put a red roof on a property.
Are they still around?
I don't know if they are. We're probably going to get sued. So get in line, red roof.
You should have said Motel 6 or something.
I won't say Motel 6. I think there are
other ones so that you didn't call any one person out.
Motel 6.
Yeah. So, but the deal.
The Bates Inn Motel.
All right.
The other thing that has not been considered, and it's out for RFI right now, is, hey, who else would like to participate in the investment to bring this out of the ground? And those are the people that would be the specialists in actually running each component. The city has very little experience running the type of marina that will be there. So if there's a marina operator out there that wants to say, hey, look, we'll throw this many $1 million at it. We'll put in the docks. We'll put in the harbor master building, but we get to run it. Right. And that's what this RFI is out there for, to see in each one of those component parts, running a conference facility. There's certainly companies out there that know how to run a conference facility better than we do.
Let's just say you don't get any interest. What happens?
The drawing board is still open. There's still chalk. There's still an eraser.
The
canvas is still there.
What is your feedback from the majority of the residents that you talk to? Do they want to pay $897 to get in on this? And do you think this it's beautiful. Nobody's questioning how beautiful it is. Will that price out some of the people that don't make a lot of money in Cape Coral?
At an event like this, personally, they talk to me and they say they love the idea. Keep going, Bill.
Oh.
In a public meeting, they're afraid that they will be killed by shrapnel thrown from afar if they were to say that they think that it needs to be done. We've seen it happen in this room, that you call out something that someone's opposed to, and they're willing to take action on it right then. We've seen it happen in council chambers. So those people that are proponents of some of the things that are controversial tend to stay quiet. They tend to, if you will, cheer us on, in the wings. So the people that I talk to, it's a mixed bag. It really is a mixed bag. We certainly get the ones that are opposed to it through email, and very little conversation. It's really email where the negative comments come, and the positives come from personal interactions.
So I want to ask you real quick about citizens input. I don't want to harp on it because I actually saw what I saw last night at the golf course meeting was a bunch of people that really had genuine interest in the golf course. property, and there was no craziness. There was give and take back and forth, and the people, they voiced what they wanted to, but nobody was throwing anything, and they were listening, and they want to be heard, and the whole thing. Do you feel like the council listens to the citizens? That one of the criticisms, I don't know if it's true or not. You hear it because you hear from people that are louder than perhaps the other groups.
Yeah, we absolutely do listen to them. I will say this: it is a lot easier to listen when the feedback, when the input is given respectfully, than when it is given in a different way. Let's just say, and there are numbers of people that do supply us with input, and the input is positive input, suggestions. Hey, would you consider this? So instead of just condemning a considered action, instead of doing this, what if we were to do this? And we have several citizens that do just that, and I love that. I personally love that. So bring me suggestions. Don't bring me condemnation.
Okay.
We've talked about that before. Like, what is the solution? Because all you're hearing is complaining, and there's no suggestion of a solution or a possible different way to go. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's hard to just take negatives and no one's offering a different alternative.
Yeah. Well, some are, but they do it privately.
By the way, if anyone has any questions from the audience, we're totally willing to throw it out there and see if you have better questions than Kim does. I know mine are better than hers. So if you have any questions out there and you want to ask them, oh yes, sir. Alrighty, that was quick. Come on down. You got to hustle on down here.
Was there a laugh
Come on
from
down.
over there?
I know.
Because I
he's gonna get his. He's gonna get his.
He's gonna get his. And I
just need
got you so good last week. He slapped his legs. So.
All right. So, with the Cape Coral Yacht Club, I know there's a design rendering of the L-shaped garage, right? And you said it's kind of like a blank slate. And I know you want boaters to come down there and, experience it, have a pool, have amenities, right? Is there a way that we can shave off that L and just make it as a rectangle and open up maybe like a tennis court or pickleball? Because if you've been boating or traveling by boat for a while, you want to, get off the boat, exercise, do something, right? So maybe like pickleball, tennis court, something like that.
So great question. For those that might not have heard it, the question is, can we redesign that garage a little bit to make some room for some other amenities? There may be some racket sports and whatnot. One of the things that I certainly honor our mayor for in the running of our meetings and in the demeanor that he brings to the table, and that's emulated by other council members, and that is we make decisions as a group, as a body. And so all of these ideas come before the 8 of us to make a decision. And being a part of a board of directors and leading a board of directors several times, I had one rule, and that rule was that for us to do anything, it required 70% support. It required 70% agreement and 100% support. And so whatever the decision is made at that council, the majority rules, and I believe that all 8 people leave the dais in support of the decision. That it stops dissension. It keeps people heading down the same path, pulling the wagon in the same direction. And so the decision on that design, the garage design was brought up, and there were other alternatives that were recommended. Should it come up again, that it would be modified? Obviously, we've already paid good money for design. We're already way down the road on the design. But if there were a decision made by a majority of the council to redesign that garage to allow for something else, then I would go along with majority rule.
Real quick, the mobility fees, I don't think that went the way you wanted it to go. How detrimental do you think that's going to be to the future of Cape Coral?
It won't be detrimental. It'll just be where the money comes from rather than from the mobility fee. Health, safety, and welfare is the most important thing that we do as governmental leaders. And intersection control and proper turning lanes and the right number of lanes, all that is paramount. And so it was either a matter of the new building that would come into our city through residential or commercial development. Either they're going to pay for that increase in infrastructure required to accommodate that, or we were going to have to spread it amongst the citizens that were here. By setting the mobility fee lower where it is, it just means now that investment required for the safety of our citizens will have to be borne by our current citizens more than if the mobility fee would have been higher.
Hi, Joanna Lordo. How are you, Bill?
I'm fabulous, Joanne. We would not have the Cape Coral Animal Shelter if it was not for Joanne. So round of applause for Joanne.
I'm still going to ask a tough question.
That's okay.
No, it's not really tough. I hope council will consider this, but most major cities have a commercial dock, and that allows tourism to kind of thrive and bring in tour boats and stuff like that. And I've been noticing that I haven't seen it on the plans, and I think it's really important because I speak to a lot of the tourists and that are coming into Wicked Dolphin, and I know that they're looking for things to do. And that would be wonderful if we had that.
And can I just say that is like the best example of citizens' input that we have heard in a week. So that is the type of input that we need from our citizens is, hey, here's something that we have found that is lacking. Here are the reasons why it's lacking and how it could improve our city. Is there any way that we could do this? And I will tell you what, I'll take it up myself. And talk about how our marina is designed, and is there capacity for us to have a long shore dock long enough to bring in vessels like that could accommodate that commercial traffic. It's a great suggestion.
All right. Thank you for the question. And so before we have Kevin come up and overlap a little bit, your county commissioner is here, so we have lots of questions to ask the both of you together. Talk about the stipend and how that's treating you lately.
Well, I have no fear in talking about it. I had no fear in talking about it when we put it in place, and I had no fear talking about it after it was put in place. The one mistake and the one thing I would do differently is the communication prior to. Big mistake, communication prior to. I will never make that mistake again in any walk of life. But what I will say is this. That was done the same way that everything else that we've talked about is done. There were studies done of other cities, how they handle compensation in other cities. Most other major cities in the state of Florida, if you look into it, they have stipend compensation in their total economic package. That stipend should be geared around something, and there should be some mathematics done around why it is what it is. What I would say, and I know that our Charter Review Commission is looking at compensation right now. And to some degree, where it comes from, as long as the total is there, that it attracts the right people to the job and it fairly compensates them for the amount of work that needs to be done, which also needs to be addressed by the Charter Review Commission. And that is actually identifying in the charter those things that are required of a council member, because that's one of the things that came as a shock to me. My first year in the position, I signed up for 51 meetings. I went to 234 other ones before the year was over. So the job is there, whether it's stipend, whether it's salary.
What do you think the pay should be?
I think they were on the right track in around that 100 to 120 at the mayor's level and around 80 or so 80. at the district.
So when
you think?
Go ahead. Yes, go right ahead. I thought you fell asleep for a second there.
No. Only when you're talking. Do you think that raising it up allows folks who could not afford to, a working person cannot afford to do that for that price and continue to work? I mean, would be very difficult.
And that's part of the problem.
Does that open it up so that everybody feels that they can come and have a seat at the table?
Absolutely. You're, and I can attest to our Commissioner Ruane. He doesn't take a salary, never has. He's committed never to take it. But here's the deal. Find 8 people with his acumen, with his experience. Find 8 people that can do that year in and year out in the city of Cape Coral. You won't do it. We're very, very thankful for his ability to do that, but you're not going to find 8 people who can do that. So how are you going to attract those 8 people on a regular basis so that every 2 years, you have people coming forward that have that acumen and have that experience? They're going to be making that kind of money, and they need to be able to continue to do it.
But I think your point is who have that acumen, who have that experience, because you might find 8 people, but not with the qualifications that the citizens would want.
If you're going to attract the right fish, you got to use the right bait.
Yeah.
And so when you look at our city and you look at major corporations, you look at a corporation whose budget is 1.4 billion with a B dollars, and see what they pay the leaders of those businesses. Because our city, while it certainly, is community oriented, it is a business. And we have revenues that we have to count on. We have expenses that we have to be obligated to. And that requires a great deal of thought. It takes a great deal of acumen to do that. And when you have the people that have that acumen and have that experience, that's the type of compensation that they're going to need for you to attract them to do that.
So, Bill, lastly on that, just when you're watching this stipend go through, and we weren't here at the time, and you see the reaction from the residents and the voters, and you, in your mind, you know it's wrong, or maybe you didn't think it was wrong at the time, but you're saying it's wrong now, the communication. Why didn't you stop it?
Well, the delivery was wrong. The delivery was wrong. What most people don't know is the city of Fort Myers did the exact same thing, the exact same way, April of the exact same year.
Okay, so what?
And no one knows that.
but so
no
what?
One knows. Well,
nobody in Cape Coral cares.
You didn't get the uprising.
But nobody in Cape Coral cares about Fort Myers.
Of course they don't.
But
they do. I mean, but it's the same thing that I said before. Compared to what? And so when you look at other cities like Port St. Lucie, and you look at cities like Fort Myers that put a stipend in place, they put it in place the same way. They just didn't get the same reaction.
Gotcha.
So like I said, I'd been in office for less than a year when that happened. I certainly learned.
Yeah. Last question, real quick, before we invite Kevin up.
Okay, well, yes, at the COW meeting on Wednesday, they discussed the cost of the yacht club. And when I spoke to the contractor, he said he bid on that job in 2020, prior to the plans being done. So my question then, and my question still is, how did you come up with a price if you didn't have the plans done?
That's a great question, because I don't know of a single contractor out there that won't give a bid without a plan. So they might have spitballed something. But there isn't a contractor out there that's going to place a firm bid on something without a plan. So certainly they can make some rough estimates and whatnot. But we've gotten to the point now where we actually won't even go out to bid until we have permits. And the reason is that when we get the permits in, there are things that are identified in the permit that we never knew were going to be required to begin with, and that contractor wouldn't have known about it either. And that's what causes overruns sometimes. Is you come out and you set the budget this because the bid came in at this, and then when you get the permit back, you find out it needs 30% more work than before you went in for the permit. And so then all of a sudden it looks like an overrun. It's not an overrun. It was just reality based on the permit that comes in. So yeah, I would have doubted it was a hard bid. I'd love to see in writing what it was, and maybe we'll hold them accountable and have them do it for that amount of money if it's in writing.
Well, and it's hard to compare 2020 prices with 2024 prices.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you've gone to
it's
the
not hard
grocery
to compare them,
store,
they're less.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Yeah. All right, last question before we do a little overlap here is, are you going to run for city council in 2026?
Boy, it got quiet.
Yeah.
Is that what everybody's here for? How many Mary Poppins fans do we have out there? Anybody? When does Mary Poppins leave?
When the umbrella opens.
Come on, you say it.
Well, that was good.
No, Mary Poppins leaves when there's a change in the wind. You remember she left a note for the kids that she leaves when there's a change in the wind. Here's what I'll tell you. There's a change in the wind. And I will not be running again for re-election in 2026 for District 1. And I'll leave it at that.
Wait.
Are you going to run in a different district? Are you going to run for something else?
Are you going to run for mayor?
I have not ruled out running for mayor.
Okay.
You're going to run for mayor?
That's not what I said.
Yeah.
He said
I said I've not ruled it out.
Why would you do that?
It depends which way the wind blows.
I don't know. Why would you run for mayor?
Let's just say that we need a very capable person running for mayor.
We don't have anybody capable running right now?
We absolutely do.
All right. Well, that's an unusual turn of events, that's for sure. When will you make a decision?
More than likely, it'll be January.
All right.
Right around the corner.
On that note, let's.
And what I will tell you, if you want interest peaked even more, you haven't seen the best candidate for District 1 yet.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about, but we'll wait until that is official. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, big hand for Kevin Ruane, the Lee County Commissioner for the majority of Cape Coral, is going to come up and join us.
I have not heard it this quiet in here the entire time.
I washed my truck today, but
there's a joke in there because everyone talks about all the car washes all y'all have over here. So
wait, is this the one that closed down? It's just a pass to the one that closed down. Oh, thanks a lot, Eileen. So Kevin Ruane, for those that don't know, we've been doing the show on the beach for over 7 years, and Kevin Ruane was the second guest on that show when we were doing it from Pete's Time Out, which is no longer there. Jackie, the chamber president, was first, and Kevin was still the mayor of Sanibel, and he came over, and every time we ask him to come on the show, he comes on the show, and we appreciate that very much. So thank you very much, Kevin.
We didn't have any kind of setup like
No,
this.
we had a laptop, and that was it.
No,
Did you even have a laptop then? I
Yeah,
thought you had the
yeah.
hedgehog.
Yeah.
That was really in the early days.
Yeah.
You've come a long way.
That
Congrats.
was, yes.
So what did you think of Bill's answer to what he's going to run for? What did you think of that?
More power to him.
Yeah. Now, what year are you in on the county commission, and how does that whole cycle work for you?
So I'm in my second term, 4-year term. I'm in the first year. So I've been on the county commission for 5 years. I have 3 years left.
Gotcha. And so you're the majority of Cape Coral falls under your responsibility, even though everybody gets to vote. For now, everyone gets to vote. Do you think the at-large district thing is going to pass by
single-member districts?
Single-member district. Sorry.
Yes. The citizens want single-member districts, and quite frankly, I look forward to my district. I love my district. Everybody wants to be in my district.
Yeah.
All the commissioners want to. It's coastal. It's the most affluent. It's just a great community.
And it has the most people.
No. I mean,
it doesn't.
It brings in the most money. It doesn't have the most people.
I see.
They're pretty equally divided, the five districts.
You're both on, actually, right now, you're both on the Tourist Development Council. You're the chair, and Bill's been on. How long have you been on TDC now? Bill?
How long has what?
How long have you been on TDC now? Have you fallen asleep?
No, I started as soon as I was elected. That was one of the roles that I accepted. So 3 years.
One of the things that I think I've said this to you guys, this bugs me about the TDC, is they break out how much money Sanibel brings in and Fort Myers Beach brings in, and then it's just like a big giant bowl of money. Does Cape Coral bring in the most money in the TDC or not?
Not documented.
Well, okay. Well,
we have undocumented people and undocumented
here's
monies.
the problem. There's a big flaw in the program, the software, in capturing the information. And again, Airbnbs and VRBOs are challenging. So you have to make sure you get the money, you identify it, and there is a flaw in the software program.
A flaw.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, about $6 million goes in a plot called Real Estate Network.
Yeah.
And it's really the catch-all. So when you don't know where it goes, you go in there.
So do you?
I know he gets so irritated that he thinks it should be an equitable distribution.
No, I don't think that.
No,
I've never said that. No, I don't think that. I would just like to know who puts in the pot.
There's one other thing that needs to be understood, and
there are rules.
There's a Florida statute that says that if there's any one collector in a municipality that collects 30% or greater of the overall revenue for that municipality, then you cannot identify as those dollars came from that municipality.
Well,
that's a state
that makes
statute.
no sense.
And so early on in Cape Coral's life, when the Westin came to town, the number of rooms and the price per room at that hotel caused them to be grabbing more than 30% of the tourist development dollars that came in, the hotel bed tax. So that actually engaged that statute that says that the dollars then that come into Cape Coral just have to show as coming into Lee County.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
That's a hobbling factor that we have.
Gotcha. All right, so Kevin, let's start with the easy one. You're going to rebuild the bridge. What? Oh, go ahead.
We talked about that. You're rebuilding 2 bridges. You're rebuilding the Cape Coral Bridge and the Midpoint Bridge.
Correct.
Now, give us, like you did the other night, give us the information on that. Which one's going to be first, how much it's going to cost, and your prediction about the tolls.
So the Cape Coral Bridge will start getting bids in April.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start construction by the end of the year. It'll be a couple years. Cape Coral Bridge will cost $454 million right now, based on the plans, based on the bids we have. And construction, obviously has variabilities to it.
Yeah.
So that'll be the first one. And then when that's done, we'll start to work on the Midpoint Bridge. And that's going to run very similar in dollars. So about $1 billion in both bridges.
With a B.
With a bid. So, to do that, people ask me all the time, so you're not going to raise the toll. You don't want to pay a toll to come home. I pay a toll every night to come home. This is where I live. But the reality is the toll was instituted in 1993 for $1. So the question I always ask is, what price has remained the same since 1993?
Yeah.
I mean, $1 is just, and the real issue you come down to is transportation needs to be paid with transportation dollars. So it's a separate enterprise fund. You either get it from impact fees, gas, or tolls. So how do I pay for a road if I don't have one of those revenues coming in the door?
Mm-hmm.
It's a toll. And honestly, growing up in New York, $1?
Yeah.
Please.
What is it? What is it? The bridge now in New York, one of the tunnels.
Is $21.
Oh, wow. By the way,
Cha-ching,
if
cha-ching.
you
You
want,
realize that in the paper tomorrow, they're going to say that the toll on the Cape Coral Bridge is going to
Now
be
gonna be
$21. You know that? Just watch.
Yeah.
Just watch.
No
Facebook
way.
next door, $21. Yeah.
so it's a chance it could be 4.
I honestly, I don't know until we really crunch
Yeah.
the numbers.
Yeah.
And the odd thing about the bridges is the 3 bridges are together. So the Sandover Bridge is included in the other 2 bridges. The way we actually go out to the bonds
Yeah.
and secure the money, all 3 bridges are pledged.
So how did you build the big?
And the bridge to Sanibel is $6.
It's $6.
Yeah.
Yes. That
So-
was built in 2007, and it cost $141 million back in 2007.
Oh, I see.
Ah, what
So
a
how did
bargain.
you? If you guys want to see how how the county builds a bridge, go to the south end of Fort Myers Beach. They just opened the Big Carlos Pass Bridge, I think yesterday. It's amazing. The bridge is amazing. It took like a year. I mean, it was like one of those Governor DeSantis things on the fast track where he builds things in 3 days. But I mean, and that bridge, but there's no toll there. So how did you get away with building that bridge without a toll? And all these other bridges have tolls.
This little event called Hurricane Ian.
Yeah. Okay. FEMA money.
I mean, so we actually redid 11 bridges to the tune of over $1.6 billion. But you go to Tallahassee, you advocate for the people,
I see.
and you bring the money.
Gotcha.
One of the things that I did as chair of the recovery.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it'll be 2 lanes added to
Two
each.
two lanes, both on north and south.
All right. I just one more question because I was at work. and
Monopolizing the show
No, I was
tonight.
at work and I work with someone who lives in Cape Coral, and they said that they feel like also the lights, the way the lights are timed, that could help, that could be changed to improve the traffic flow. Do you think that's possible? Is that something that's been looked into?
It's something looked into. We're looking into it right now. We work with the City of Cape for all the lights on Del Prado, Cape Coral Parkway. So you want to coordinate those so you actually don't impede traffic. You want to make sure it continues to flow. So there's always consultants you have. You're always looking at that. You're trying to do that in a collaborative way to make sure you're easing traffic.
So speaking of light changes and improvements to the roadways, Cape Coral Parkway is a county-owned road, and the council was talking the other day about why it's taken so long for the county to get their work done on restriping and getting. Am I overstating that? Am I overstating that?
I mean, so there's
We weren't complaining.
There's
No.
a joint. So the Cape Coral Parkway, Del Prado, east of the river is the county's responsibility. West is Cape Coral's. We actually maintain it, but it's a joint effort that we both have. So it's not just totally ours. When you have a county where you have a city as big as Cape Coral with their own government, we collaborate very closely and we work very closely on that.
Yeah. Well, so when will it be done?
I don't have a clue.
I mean, Bill, no kidding. You guys were, but Bill, you guys were complaining about it.
Yeah.
Not toward the county, maybe toward your staff that they didn't anticipate the delays, but it did sound like you were like, hey, well, why is this still going on?
I think for those of us that have been around for 3 years, we saw it from the beginning and saw the original, concept drawings and whatnot. And one of the things that we were trying to do was to incorporate right-onlys on the side streets so that we didn't have to deal with left-hand turns and the type of traffic control necessary for that. And the interlocal agreement that we have, the county helps us with the timing of lights and whatnot. And so it is a joint effort between working with them on that. And so what's required of that is when we get those right turn onlys in, it requires different head units on the traffic lights on the control devices. Initially, the traffic study showed that we could stop at Coronado, and it was determined that we have to go a little past Coronado that added those additional turn requirements.
All right. So just all their answers that they just said is they don't know when it's going to be finished. So that's what I heard. So the other thing that Mayor Steinke was complaining about a couple of weeks ago was the medians. The medians, like you guys don't really want to upkeep the medians the way they'd like you to. Do you know anything about that, or is that all Brian Hammond's fault?
I actually met with the mayor. We have a laundry list of things we're going through.
I see.
There was a pitch that councils, both the county and the city, get together. That doesn't work. I mean, 15 people, 16 people up on the dais. You're not getting anything productive. The mayor and I are committed to work together. We had our first meeting about 2 hours long. We'll meet them every month, and we'll give both councils an update on what we've accomplished.
Cool.
A lot quicker.
All right. So the big question is Burnstore Road. I mean, that's that is a project. Every time somebody passes away on the road, gets more publicity, and unfortunately, people died a few weeks ago, and that's one that. Where are we at on that?
So a couple different things. First and foremost, we've changed all the safety measures there. You see a big presence from Cape Coral. You see a big presence from the sheriff's office as well as from Charlotte. So we want to make sure people slow down first and foremost. Second, that's an evacuation route. We need to obviously enhance it and expand it. The issue you come down to, it's $200 million. Mm-hmm. So how do you pay for it? And there's one of three ways. The first way is it was a FDOT road. It was not a county road. So back in the 90s, FDOT gave it to the county. I was
the gift that keeps on giving.
And, whenever you get something, is there consideration given? Because we received a road that we had to maintain for the last 30 years. So what did we receive? Control of a road that has a lot of expenses associated with it. Now it's become a priority. But a year and a half ago, the bridges were the priority. We need to move them up. Mm-hmm. So that's $1 billion there. And then we have $200 million more for Burnstore Road. I am 100% in favor of making sure Burnstore Road gets done. And so the first one is going back to FDOT, which I've already started conversations. I brought it up at the MPO meeting and saying, this was your road. So why don't you take it back? Because A, we could do right-of-ways much quicker. They'll do eminent domain, which we don't generally do. They'll actually build it quicker because they have resources that we don't have. And you have, people like the governor that wants to get things done. So it's a different process that FDOT follows than we do.
So can you give it to them as a gift and then they're just going to say no, thank you?
The party's not going to just receive it. You have to advocate. You have to work with the delegation. I'm working with the mayor and the council to make sure they understand how important this road is and why it is. But that's option number one. Option number two will be we probably have to implement Arbor Word, sales tax.
Okay.
Because transportation and infrastructure is a problem in Lee County. We grew tremendously. In the 20 years I've been here, the population has doubled. And you can't continue to grow at the rate we're growing and address infrastructure because Cape Coral did a mobility fee, which is great, but how do you get money for transportation? When you exhaust gas, tax, tolls, and impact fees, you're out of money. You can't take it out of the general fund because there's not enough money to pay for all the other aspects. And when you look at the county's budget, 53% of our budget goes to the constitutionals. And if they don't like what we say in their budget, they go right to the governor and they'll get their budget passed. So historically, they've always passed it.
Do you think one of the things I think Commissioner Hammond brought up, that the city should kick in a little bit from their mobility fees? Where are you on that?
Listen, at the end of the day, I don't know. I think that is Brian looking at and thinking outside the box. It's a $200 million project that we need to come up with money. But honestly, in all fairness to Cape Coral, so they put up $30 or $40 million. We don't have 160.
Right.
So the issue really comes down to it's our responsibility. We work collaboratively together. We go to Tallahassee. We get money for that. We actually work with FDOT. We put in a sales tax, or when we do the bridges, we could probably include that type of expenditure because it is an enhancement. Midpoint does go to burn stores, so it is an enhancement we could do and have the capacity to pay for it that way.
What is your vibe from Tallahassee? We hear, I don't know if it's true or not, that they're going to be sending a lot less money down than they have in the past. Is that true or not true?
I mean, there's 8 bills that are currently up in Tallahassee on some revenue reduction on real estate taxes. Who doesn't want your real estate taxes cut? Raise your hand. Who doesn't want the real estate taxes cut?
Eileen, pay attention.
Okay.
Well, how do you guys survive that if that happens?
Well, I mean, so it's virtually impossible. The way they'd like to pivot is then have the non-homesteaded people pay more and the commercial district pay more. So you're shifting a responsibility from one group to another group, which isn't fair. And whenever you look at the bills up in Tallahassee, having done this for 19 years, there's about 3,000 to 4,000 bills that are produced. Only about 300 get passed. So you need to have a bill in the Senate, a bill in the House. You have to come to a reconciliation, and it has to pass all the subcommittees, and the governor still has veto authority.
Yeah.
So I don't see what 8, because it's hard for people to understand the difference between 1, 2, 3, or 8.
Oh, yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. So do you like being a county commissioner better than being a mayor? Which job did you like better? Because Steinke needs some mayor advice.
They're both very different.
I knew that was coming.
They're both very different. So the first thing I said when I got on the city council in Sanibel, I believed in term limits. Sanibel didn't have them, but I believe personally in term limits. So 12 years was all I was going to do. The first 2 years, I was fulfilling someone else's term. So in 17, I said that was my last term.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to do this. And I wasn't going to run for county commission. It's Durian's fault.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think that's
and that
true.
vehicle just rode right over you.
But, I came home one night and I said, you know what? I met with my campaign manager and he wants me to run for county commission. And a lot of people asking, am I going to do it? I said, listen, I was supposed to do this for 60 days. When council asked me in 2007, would I actually go on the council? There was an opening. I said I would do it for 60 days. Well, now in 2020, it's now 13 years. So it's been a long 60 days. And now we're at 19 years. But I came home and said, we're not going to do that. She's like, I'm not going to live with you. You want to do this. So I'm not getting in your way.
Yeah.
So don't use me as the reason. You want to do it, go do it.
So
it's a much different job because when I was in the city, we had significant challenges there, significant issues. A small city, no resources, no money. 2007, the world falling apart. The county has gone through an awful lot of money, but the storms, having 5 in the last 2 years, have just really depleted all of our money and all our reserves because getting reimbursed from FEMA is a nightmare, and it doesn't matter. So we actually have a loan from the state, interest-free, to be able to float our receivables that we're waiting for the federal government.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What a way to run a business.
I think a lot of municipalities are going through that. Bill, do you have any questions for your commissioner? Would you like to ask him a question?
No, I mean, Kevin and I talk when we need to talk about things. We see each other at different events.
So you don't want to ask him a public question. Everything has to be private with you, Mayor.
Hey.
Come on. No, so
if I was going to follow suit, now would be the time I'd be dressing him down for something.
I see.
That isn't the way it works.
Yeah.
Not for me
So,
anyway.
Kevin, you are a resident of Cape Coral. Do you feel like Mayor Steinke and the rest of the council are spending your money wisely? I mean, do you feel like you're getting the biggest bang for your buck when you see that tax bill?
I'll actually answer the question the way Bill would. Okay. I'm not looking at their budget as someone that actually was on city council. I'll phrase it differently. In the 19 years I've been in office, I've never raised the millage rate in any council I've ever been on. And actually, the 13 years in Sanibel, I cut the millage rate by 27%. It really comes down to how do you do it? I give this council a lot of kudos because they had a millage rate that was at 7.7 at one point in time.
Really?
They brought it down dramatically.
I didn't know it was that high.
Oh, it was 7.7.
What is it now, Bill?
5.
5, 2, 1.
Bill, you're running.
514.
You're running for mayor. You shouldn't have to ask anybody that
Yeah,
question.
well,
you should know that at the
I
tip
got
of your
people.
tongue. For
I
crying
got
out
people
loud.
for that. I got people for that.
But honestly, when you look at I would have to really comb through the Cape Coral budget. There's always opportunities to look for any opportunities you can. Our biggest cost are labor. So when we were in Sanibel, one of the ways to mitigate your expenses was to actually outsource more, because we're still in the dark ages of having a pension, and it's a defined pension. So when the stock market in 07 went down 30%, you not only have to make up that shortfall, you then have to guarantee them 8%. And we had a private pension system was on Sanibel. They're just not sustainable financially. And it's just not real reality that we deal in. So, and we had our own private system when I was in Sanibel. So we're in part of FRS.
Yeah.
So it was a different scenario.
So a couple of questions that people
Sure.
emailed me in. Are you in support of another access point from I-75 to Cape Coral?
Absolutely.
Can that be done?
Absolutely.
Oh, is that the one? Okay, that was the one somebody.
Yep.
Okay. What was the name of that road?
It's out by Slater Road.
Slater Road,
Yep.
right. And do you see that happening?
I can't see any reason why I wouldn't. It really comes down to you have to advocate. This job is not only that we go to the public, but going to Tallahassee, going to Washington is really where you want to talk about reducing budgets and bringing real dollars back home. I'm a professional beggar. It's what I do. Listen, there's no secret to going to Tallahassee or Washington. We didn't get $1 billion from HUD because we didn't go there. We didn't get $3 billion from the storm from Tallahassee. I mean, I was there 33 days, and it was my job that our commission gave me as the chair of the recovery, and that was my responsibility.
And we didn't get 25 million for the UEP because we didn't ask for it. We were up there lobbying for that. And when you think about unification of message, we've got a great delegation that makes its way all the way down to city council, all the way up through the House and Senate in the state of Florida, where every time, whether it's MPO, our CTAC in the city, it's another access point from 75 and it's Burnt Store Road. Every time, unified message every time. They're not going to forget that that's what we want money for.
I mean, I was on Burnt Store Road today because we have counties, so we do a lot of water obligations, and I'm with 4 other counties where we meet up in Venice. I'm on Burnt Store Road very often because if I'm not going to Charlotte, I got to go to Sarasota. So you're interacting with other people because that's how you control things in a multi-county facility.
So what do you think the city council members should be paid? I know in Lee County, it's like in the charter, right? You never have to vote on it because it's automatic. So you never have to worry about
ours
it.
is tied to population.
Okay.
So our salary last year was about $115,000. And I do agree that you have to pay people properly. I don't expect people to do the job for free. I'm blessed to be able to do the job for free. My companies do very, very well. And it's something I got used to in Sanibel because we were not paid.
Right.
So I've done that job. I think the job, honestly, when you look at the cities, having been very involved in the Florida League of Cities, the cities from 1 to 10 get paid probably about $80,000 to $90,000 for a council member, about 100, 110 for a mayor. So you do the proper study, you roll it out to the people, and you do attract a certain person. I do believe that. You can't attract someone if they're not doing another job to pay their bills for $36,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
you can't do
zero.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
how
But
in
but
Sanibel,
I'm also
I mean-
blessed to run multiple companies to be able to do what I do, and it's a choice I made to help the community.
Yeah, I feel like they're so underpaid in this city, but the minute you bring that up, people want to,
well, I
hit you with
think
a
you
lightning
should
rod.
take out the
It is-
low,
it
which
is-
is zero, and the high.
It is the
and
way you
come up.
go about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody
Anytime
admitted
you
that.
want to message something, it's how you communicate in what you do. It came up when I was on Sanibel to actually pay the people. I voted against it. Again, and every one of the council members voted against it.
Yeah.
And our charter review were voted against it. And it's just the way they've operated. I don't think that's realistic to do with a city of Cape Coral size. I mean, it's just unrealistic.
Does anybody have any questions for your county commissioner? Have you heard anything from the governor about Mike Greenwell's seat?
Now, I don't anticipate that to be a priority for the governor until the beginning of the year. I mean, we have 2 meetings left.
Okay.
We have one in November and then one in December. So that's all we have. And then we have one in January. So I don't think he's going to get around till January. It just makes it difficult when you have 4 people because you get into 2-2 votes, and
Yeah, but you
or
guys,
8.
yeah, well, yeah,
there'll be some 2-2 votes coming up.
or 7 when Keith Long came late to the meeting and you lost your seat. That was
That's
interesting.
okay. Moving it around's okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys never have 2-2 votes, though. I mean, I think I don't know
Well,
when
he
the
just
last one
said
I
there
saw
are
was.
gonna be
I mean,
some
you're
coming up.
pretty solid on most things,
Yeah,
especially
we,
big
we
issues.
are, but
yeah.
there's going to be a different, whenever you have a shift in your council members, it just is different.
Yeah.
I could always say, you know what, I knew where Mike stood, I knew where Brian stood, I knew where Cecil stands. It's not hard when you're doing this for 19 years to look to say, where's my 3 votes coming from? And I've always had the privilege of working with 5 people, not 8. So I only have to get 2 people to think the way I do, and
Yeah.
it goes through.
Yeah. So anything you want to?
And of course, you always do that in public, right?
Yeah.
Always in public. Yeah.
Anything you want?
Listen,
Go ahead.
for someone that doesn't get paid, the last thing I want to do is have some type of felony because I had a sunshine conversation.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What do you want the residents and voters of Cape Coral, the people that you represent, know that you're doing for them, or know whatever you want to say to them?
First and foremost, you know what? This is home for me. It's home for my family. We decided to move here because the kids, I have 2 adult children, decided they would come to Cape Coral. One came, the other didn't, but this is home. So first and foremost, I live here. I go through the same issues you do. The most important thing I tell people is call my office when you have an issue. I will always give you time. I will always give you whatever we need to talk about to address the issue. I don't know the issue until you bring it to my attention. With 850,000 people, I'm in favor of single member districts because I want to work on 220,000, not 800,000. It's impossible for me to serve 850,000 people. I don't care how many assistants I have, but I'm here to help anyone that can. I've enjoyed working with the council, and I also bring a different point of view because I worked as a council member and I'm now a county commissioner. So I've seen both sides, and I think I get respect from people because they know I came up the way they did. And that's why I'm here for.
In real world, when will Burnt Store Road, in your opinion, ever be widened? Give us a year. Realistic year. Nobody's here listening.
It'll be done by 2032.
2032. That is in 7 years.
Oh, here we go with the math.
Well, so it's 6 years
not
come
too bad.
January.
Yeah.
It'll take 2+ years to acquire the right-of-ways. And the problem with right-of-ways, what most people don't realize, is that you have someone that doesn't want to sell their piece of property, it becomes a litigation matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we don't do eminent domain. So how do I widen something when I don't have the width to widen the road? So that's really your first hurdle. If that goes quickly and you have people comply, you'll cut the time in half because you're going to spend 2+ years just doing. And we're in the process right now of trying to do whatever we can do from an acquisition point of view. We put money aside to do any acquisitions on a right-of-way that we know we need to widen the road.
Something that everybody talks about that maybe you can touch on is the 2020 program, and people were getting upset that there wasn't money in there. And I think you were a little forceful at the last meeting about putting maybe $8 million in that budget. That I don't want to try and remember the numbers. I can't remember anything. But
so the 2020 program is, in 20 years, we're going to have 20,000 acres set aside for conservation. We're at like 37,000 acres, so we're above that. The concern is the charter says that I have to transfer $40 million over to the 2020 fund. Okay, doesn't say when. So people were upset when they came to our budget hearing because we had not transferred the money yet.
Yeah,
we have about $100 million in reserves, so we have the ability to do so. And there was a thoughtful suggestion from the audience, from someone that used to run the 2020 program.
I see.
To say, put $8 million as a sign of good faith. I made the motion. We're having a strategic planning meeting, and everybody said, can we address it then? But the challenge we have, and I asked for a workshop as well, is when you have a softening economy, developers now say, well, I'll sell the land in 2020 because nobody else wants to buy it and no one wants to develop it.
Right.
We can't be the catcher's mitt or the end of the cul-de-sac and take every piece of property because not every piece of property is for 2020. And we need to go through the process, vet them. Right now, if I acquired everything that's in front of the 2020 committee, it's about $70 million. So the 40 isn't enough money.
Yeah. But
So-
you're already over the acreage. So why is it a big deal if you're already over the acreage?
Well, I think it's important to have smart growth. I think it's important to have green space. I think it's important to continue to do that. There is a conservation. The citizens want it. If you had another poll,
Gotcha.
another referendum, it would pass like that.
Gotcha.
And I think people are comfortable that it's a balance, to actually have, some smart growth and some obviously more green space. And what we're doing as a county is, as Bill talked about his parks, every 2020 now the citizens want to have them as walking parks.
Yeah.
So we bought a piece of property, we're maintaining them. Now we're actually improving them to have even more parks on top of the parks we have. I mean, we have too many parks, in my opinion, because I don't think we need to have as many parks as we do.
Not because you're against parks, but you got to maintain them all.
Well, you have to maintain them, and then the citizens will like, you know what? Yeah, I'd like pickleball. No, I'd like a bike path. No, I'd like a trail. So. It was a 2020 property to preserve a piece of green space for conservation, not to have amenities
Yeah.
and all these accessories.
Right.
Because unfortunately, you have to pay for those.
Well, and Sanibel has a huge amount of green space over there.
2/3 of the property in Sanibel is in conservation 2020. I'm also a big believer that when you start to dilute the ability to develop, the property values go up. So on Sanibel, I used to kid around with Mayor Hannison when he was mayor of Fort Myers.
Mhm.
Back in around 2010, 2011, there was only 20% different in assessed values between the city of Fort Myers and Sanibel. So do you want to manage 90,000 people or 7,000 people?
Yeah.
Because the per acreage on Sanibel was so much higher. So I do believe that when you build small lots, you dilute your values. When there's less property, it's supply and demand.
Right.
It's going to happen. I've always thought less is more. More isn't more.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Kevin?
I'm here to help any way I possibly can. I've enjoyed working with the mayor. I respect all the council members. Whatever I could do to help. I mean, that's why I do this.
Big hand for Kevin Ruane, everybody, your Lee County Commissioner. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Before we say goodbye, I'm going to ask. Thank you, Kevin, for coming out here. Oh, you live out here. I'm going to ask the mayor of Cape Coral to come up. Come on up, Mayor Gunter. But first of all, I know you got. We want to talk about something I forgot to ask you about.
Oh, well, how many people have ever been to the Helping Hands event that's held across the parking lot here? If you've not been, you got to go. It is when Gary Aubuchon came to town in 1984, he not only wanted to build a career here and build a business here, of which he's built 6, but he also wanted to give back to the community. And so for the 27th year in a row, we'll be hosting as Aubuchon Homes team of companies, an event that we call Helping Hands. And it's an event that we bring people in from all over the community. They come in actually from all over the county and from other parts of the state as we raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Ronald McDonald House Charities, and Builders Care. And so last year, I want to say we raised somewhere in the neighborhood of around $50 million.
Wow.
I'm sorry, $50,000.
Wow.
I was going to say, dang, you're building
friends?
that new
Yeah.
road on
So,
Burnstone. You're building Burnstone Road.
That means
Yeah.
you get a flag, you get a flag, you get a flag, you get a flag.
Yeah.
Put them up.
Exactly. So yeah, none of the money will go to the flag. All the money will go to all 3 of those charities. Santa's there. Mrs. Claus is there. We have food. We have beverage, and the whole reason is to bring the community out to begin that season of Thanksgiving and the blessings of the holiday season, and give you the opportunity to contribute to those 3 organizations with one donation.
And it's November 24th from 5:30 to 7:30.
November the 24th, which is a week from it's the Monday before Thanksgiving. It begins at 5:30. We'll go till about 7:30 or so. Sometimes a little longer than that if the giving continues. And so please come out and have a good time.
All right, cool.
Are they going to be? Is it food? Is it an
Yep.
auction? What's going on?
No, it's food. Every now and then we'll have. We've had an artist come every now and then, and he'll actually auction off a piece of artwork. But basically, it's just generosity of heart and wallet.
Okay.
Excellent. And we have another kind of a fundraiser going on. 92.5 Fox News is trying to collect 10,000 cards for the troops. They deliver them all over the world for the troops. Yep. And Mayor Allers came on our Sunday show last week and challenged all the mayors in Lee County, including Mayor Gunter, to collect cards to see who would collect the most cards. And he has over 4,000 cards now, but what he doesn't have is a city of 220,000 people. And the mayor sent out, the city sent out a list of all the drop-off locations. And so
it's cards that, like, new
well, let
cards.
him explain it, dear. He knows all the details.
All right,
Mayor
let's
Gunter.
see. You're on.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is collect cards to send it to the veterans that are overseas and serving our country.
Right.
So I reached out to a bunch of businesses. You have the Hook here that will accept the cards, Slipaways, Fathoms in the southwest part of the city. You have Bubba's Roadhouse up in the northwest part of the city will accept Christmas cards, and also Mel's Diner up in the northeast on Pine Island Road, and also at City Hall. So any of those locations between now and December 4th or 5th, you can drop a card off, just put on the card, Merry Christmas to our veterans. Thank you for your service. Drop it off, and we'll collect all the cards here in Lee County, and we'll get it out to the veterans.
Yeah, and they don't want any, like, don't put any identifying information.
No nudie
in
pictures.
the card.
Yeah.
No glitter, no glue. Just
Yep.
a nice message.
Right. Merry Christmas and thank you for your service.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And just so you all know, if you don't live on the Cape and you're watching or following along, the Hooked Island Grill in Gulf Coast Town Center is also part of Mayor Gunter's pickup. There's a box out there already. It's decorated way better than this one because she decorated it this morning.
That looks
so
pathetic.
yeah, I hope somebody here can help us decorate it before we leave. So I think you guys have a good chance to catch him, although the mayor on Fort Myers Beach does have people mailing them to his house from all over the country. So it's all for a good cause, and I think they're going to blow 10,000 out of the water. So while I have you here, Mayor Gunter, were you at all surprised by Council Member Steinke saying he might run for mayor, being that you've already announced that you are running for mayor?
Well, Mayor Steinke's been on the council for 3 years.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to switch seats with you.
he didn't know the millage rate, so I'm not too worried.
No, but you guys have both voted for the stipend. Do you worry at all that might be a problem going into the election next year? Or you feel like you've explained it well enough where your experience on the council now is more important than something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the stipend was definitely a concern. And like Councilmember Steinke had mentioned earlier, and I've said it publicly, we could have done a much better job rolling that out. We had the data. I think we could have done a better job getting that information out to the community. If you look at the data, it surely shows where the salaries should be.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where we had it, if you look at the Charter Review Commission, they're pretty close. So I think some people will remember that when they go to the polls. But if you keep an open mind, you look at the data, hopefully we'll be able to get that out if it does go to a referendum. And let the community decide.
You met with Kevin Ruane last week, your county commissioner, or this week, and you're going to meet monthly. Is there anything from that meeting you want to tell the people?
Just that we have a great open line of communication. Kevin and I have always worked great with one another. We both want the same thing. We want to see results. We want to find solutions to problems. And he and I have committed ourselves to those monthly meetings to address a variety of topics to make sure we come up with those solutions.
Right.
You know, I would like to answer the whole issue about, be careful of what affects you at the polls. When you look at the number of decisions that are made, and I made comment earlier on about me having to answer 3 questions right to get elected. There are so many decisions that are made in the course of a year. There's literally thousands of decisions that are made. And so when our electorate goes to the polls, what I hope they'll do is I hope they'll look at that as a hiring opportunity, that they want to hire the right person for the job. And I don't know of anyone that hires anyone for a job that does not look at their resume and does not look at the experience that person has had in all the types of affairs that they'll encounter over 4 years in time. to have the understanding of budgets and personnel and growth and development and expenses and revenues, and it's a job that goes far more than just one decision or two decisions.
Well, and looking at
will everyone get every one of them right? No, I don't expect anybody to get every one of them right. I would expect to get most of them right. But there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, and the ones that have been made right over the last 3 years and 7 years in the mayor's case, there's been a ton of great decisions made, and the city's a better place today than it was 7 years ago.
Well, it's looking at the totality of somebody's, record and what they've done, rather than basing your decision on one thing that you might disagree
From
with.
your lips to God's ears.
Yeah, and I've watched some of the old videos of people when they were running and that are now on the council. They're a little different now. I think once you get into City Hall and you see how the sausage is really made, it's not as easy as some people think it is. And some of the candidates that we've had on already, I feel like they are just saying what other people want them to say because it'll help them get elected. And I don't want to be rude to them because they're all trying. They're not there. They don't know how the sausage is made yet.
God,
but I feel like you just play to the crowd sometimes because they don't know. And I don't know if that's because of lack of research or because there's just no way of knowing.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the public and a candidate really has a very small percentage of the information. And then if they do have the privilege to get elected and they go to City Hall, then they get that information. And then a lot of times, and I've heard candidates that have gotten elected say this before, boy, I really didn't realize the information that I didn't know. And once they got all the information, they had a whole different perspective. So, I think that happens a lot in our community as well.
Yeah. What do you want people that are watching or in the audience to know, to keep an eye on? What are the issues that you guys are going to be dealing with as we get through the holidays into the next year, besides the golf course, which was a huge turnout last night? What do you see decisions being made on early on?
I think, we have some UEP decisions that we're going to have to be making. We need a $200 million wastewater plant up there in the northern part of the city. You have the yacht club that you talked about earlier, the old golf course. You have the Bed in the East project that we're going to be talking about. We have some infrastructure type projects that we're going to have to talk about. We're getting ready. We bought the reservoir up in Charlotte County. Can't say much about that except we will be voting on that next week. So there's a lot of very important discussions and votes in the next 6 months that we'll be having.
Another big one too, not at the city level, but at the state level, is the whole ad valorem tax. The property tax issue. Just like we talked about the mobility fees, if it doesn't come from one place, it's got to come from another. Unless we just want to shut off our police department, which we're one of the most safest cities in the state, if not the country. Well, that ad valorem tax is what pays the police officers' paychecks.
I think one of the bills.
So if it doesn't come from there, it's got to come from somewhere, and it'll be loaded on us to figure out where's that money got to come from. We've had one of our senators say, "Hey, well, I promise it's going to be a revenue neutral decision." Well, we're going to need to hold him accountable for that. And how are we going to make this revenue neutral, be part of the solution in this? If the governor wants to remove property taxes, it's got to come from somewhere. So keep an eye on that one too, and certainly be willing to give your input to our state representatives as far as it relates to what would happen without that property tax being in the revenue stream.
Any final thoughts, Mayor?
Yep,
All right. Thank you. Big hand for the mayors. Mayor Bill Steinke and Mayor, just kidding, John Gunter. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you for everything that you help us out with. We appreciate it. And before we go, I need to tell you, please, thank you all for sticking around. We went way, this is the longest show we've had. I apologize to the music. And I want to tell you about our sponsor, Sean Carter with Movement Mortgage. He's just about every loan program under the Florida sun, conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, even the specialty stuff like bank statement or investor loans. If it exists, Sean's probably got it. Well, except the 50-year mortgage. Those aren't available yet. He wrote his own stuff there. Very good. give Sean a call. You can go on his website, cartergetsloans.com, or his phone number is 574-320-4840. 574-320-4840. cartergetsloans.com. Sean Carter, loan officer, NMLS number 1999324. Thank you to Sean and Movement Mortgage for sponsoring the show. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We will see you next Friday. I forgot my list of guests, so it's all online on our website. We appreciate you all and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.